Hi, you guys. This is Courtney from Willow's Bloom, and today we're going to be talking about the new moon in Cancer that's happening on July 9th at 18 degrees of Cancer. So, really quick before I jump into the chart, the overall explanation, I did want to mention that I have a new membership called the North Node Society, and I basically have a whole astrology course that is worth hundreds of dollars just sitting there for you, easy access, just $20 a month. And it's so much more than just an astrology course. Not only can you dive into your chart and learn about where this moon is going to affect you personally and how that might look in your life, but you'll also have live group classes with people where I go over other topics around astrology. We also have a therapist. I say that in quotes because she's not a therapist, but there's some kind of like counseling service that we do. Again, I don't want to say counseling because I'm not like legally allowed to have therapy or counseling. It's something along those lines. It's kind of like coaching, like spiritual coaching, let's say. So we have a spiritual coach come on each month. We have breathwork classes, yoga. There's so many different things that are offered in this membership, and I really hope that you'd be interested in joining. So if so, there's a link below, and I'll see you guys there. Okay, so we're gonna go over the new moon for all of the zodiac signs, but first we're gonna start off with the overview. So, like I said, this moon is happening at 18 degrees of Cancer, which means that if you have a planet at around plus or minus 5 degrees, 18 degrees of Cancer, then you are going to be strongly affected by this. So, this is what I see time and time again with my friends. For the people that don't have this aspecting any of their personal planets, sometimes these moons come and go and they're just felt a little bit energetically, but nothing in their life happens. Other times, when it hits a personal planet by some kind of aspect, square, opposition, sextile, trine, or conjunction, you are going to have something in your life alter, change, manifest, or dissolve away. And new moons are specifically about building something up. So if this is hitting your personal chart, which again, you can find out by joining the membership and taking the course. But yeah, if this is hitting your chart, you'll notice that some new beginnings are being planted, some new seeds are being planted at this time. And it's going to be another 6 months for the next full moon in Cancer when you start to see some ripe fruit coming as a result of the actions and things that are happening in your life right now. If you've watched my videos before, then you know I love to use tarot and oracle cards along with the astrology messages because I just feel like they're so intertwined. So I'm definitely going to be using those today to kind of describe this moon. So, what is a new moon in Cancer about? Well, what I think is it's a lot about new emotional beginnings. Cancer is about us allowing ourselves to feel, allowing ourselves to nurture and mother ourselves, especially because this new moon is making a square to Chiron, which is an asteroid in the sky that has a lot to do with our healing process. And a square is a harsh angle that's indicating that this healing is coming off the back of a challenging situation. And because leading up to this point in time, Venus was opposing Pluto, a lot of those challenging situations are likely regarding our finances, our self worth, or our relationships, our intimate partnerships with people. And so, this healing that's happening is really going to be around some of those issues. And it's probably going to feel like a band aid is being ripped off so that the skin underneath can finally get a fresh breath of air. And so that's kind of what I see this new moon as being. I don't think it's going to be the most comfortable new moon, but there are good solutions happening. And what I mean by that is that this new moon is also making a positive angle to Uranus. It's making a sextile to Uranus. Uranus is a planet of finding solutions. It is kind of like our way of thinking outside of the box, of rebelling to create something that doesn't exist that is going to solve our problems, to create change, to disrupt the status quo of what's been happening so we can finally feel some sense of relief or release or freedom. And so that's really what this new moon is about. How are we going to fully express how we feel? By finding some way to create a sense of change in our life to feel more free, to feel like can finally be ourselves. So if you've had some relationships or relationship dynamics that have been repetitive or toxic and kind of keeping you stuck in old cycles, the sextile to Uranus at this moon is asking you to make some changes to those relationships to finally feel like you have some breathing room so you can finally express your authentic self with somebody who can actually sit and listen and take it in and who is a valid person to have a relationship with. I'm going to get more into that for each of the individual signs, but this sextile to Uranus feels very positive. So while there is kind of a lot going on in the sky in general in terms of relationships, money, and self-confidence, this Uranus energy asking us to shake things up, make different decisions, completely disrupt something in our life that's been heading on a path that needs to alter. That is the answer. That is the medicine and the remedy within the astrology right now. This new moon is also making a trine to Neptune. So this trine to Neptune is going to make this healing process a little bit easier. It's going to give us basically more universal and spiritual support throughout this process. So if you're looking for divine timing or divine signals or the universe kind of speaking back to you, this is a moon where you're going to feel like you're finally getting some kind of response from the universe if that's something that you normally tuned into. It's also a really great time to express yourself through art and creativity and anything where you feel like you can process emotion in a really cathartic way. So Neptune is that perfect energy, not only for spiritual expression, but artistic expression. So kind of leaning into those areas are going to help uplift you at this time. There's a really wide orb happening with Pluto and a Pluto opposition. So it's a 7-degree orb. We're probably not going to be feeling it that much, but since the Venus opposition to Pluto happened somewhat recently, I did want to bring this in and say that I do see some residual intensity from recent experiences regarding relationships, regarding money, or regarding self-worth, kind of filtering into this current experience. So I do feel like some of the kind of like childhood shadows that come up around those areas of our life can still be at the forefront. While I don't see them being like necessarily new situations or new realizations, I feel like it's more of the residual of what was just happening. So I hope that makes sense. Okay, so that's pretty much what's going on for the moon itself. Now I'm going to talk about what's happening in the rest of the sky as far as astrology, and then I'll get into some cards that I pulled for this. So we are also experiencing Mercury in Gemini making a trine to Jupiter retrograde in Pisces. So Mercury in Gemini is in its home sign. It loves to be there. Jupiter in Pisces loves to be there. They're both really strong in their element. The only thing wrong here is that Jupiter is retrograde. So a lot of this growth and advancement that we're currently working on with Jupiter is going to be very internal. Those abundance and the blessings that we normally see when Jupiter is direct are going to be kind of on hold until Jupiter does go direct again. Not that you won't receive any abundance or blessings, but that they're kind of trickling out now and not full on pouring out, because a lot of what's happening right now is internal manifestations, internal changes, internal growth. And so that's what Jupiter retrograde does. So I feel like Mercury making a trine to Jupiter is us being more optimistic. It's us feeling like, okay, I can see long term now. I can see how much I've evolved. I can look back in the past and give myself credit for how I've changed, how I've healed, how I've grown. But then we have Mercury also making a square to Neptune. So it's like, even though we can kind of see into the future and we feel more optimistic about it and we can see how far we've come, we also have this element of ourselves where there's still a lack of clarity. We're still not exactly sure where we're going. It's like we have a general idea, we're feeling excited, but when we try to like get down into the details of what is my life right now? Who am I going to be with? What is my relationship with myself going to be? How is my money going to evolve? It's like those things are not fully within our grasp. So even though we can have that excitement and that long-term vision, that long-term vision is unclear, or we don't feel like it's tangible. We don't have all of the information yet. We haven't fully come out of this hazy chapter. Like, we haven't fully integrated these lessons. We're still in this process of absorbing it and trying to understand it. So things might not feel like they're totally clear. So if you have this kind of weird relationship with someone, and you're trying to end it, or you're not sure where you guys stand, like that's the kind of energy. Like, okay, there's some relief. Like, you guys maybe made a decision. If this is about a relationship, maybe you made a decision to end or change the relationship or not pursue something or whatever. You had a conversation. But then with the Neptune influence, it's like, it's not really done yet. It's like, it's not solidified. It's not super clear where you stand with this person, but you have a general idea of where you guys are going and you feel like it's better than where it was before. But maybe it's like you're not healed yet, or there's some aspect of that still needs to be fully seen later on. So just kind of keep that in mind. Some of the big stuff that's happening is that we're going to have Mars and Venus aligning in the sky and making a conjunction. So Mars and Venus are very different energies. Venus is the planet of harmony and unity, and Mars is the planet of separation and of war. And so when we bring these two things in combination, it can be honestly this very intensified sexual experience. So we might have a lot more desire nature at this time. We might desire to be in relationship with people. We might want to have more sex with people. We might want to be around people in this really like strong, intense way than we normally do. Kind of like an almost animalistic drive to pursue relationships, or a drive to pursue financial abundance within ourselves, or financial abundance in general, or peace within ourselves. If we're working on a relationship with ourselves, it's like we have this fiery masculine flame kind of driving this desire for the feminine here, the uniting and the harmony. What this can also do is kind of lead to maybe some more struggles in relationships and fights and things like this, especially because Venus and Mars is opposing Saturn in the sky. So it's not like we have this desire and we're given free reign to go out and pursue what we want. At the end of the day, Saturn is there kind of blocking us and saying, okay, well, if you want to make progress with this, you first have to revisit all of this from the past. You have to address these weird habits that you have that you've been stuck in, or you have to overcome this problem first before you can have the green light to go ahead and like be with who you want or do what you want. It's like, it's hard. There's obstacles, there's delays, there's a sense of so much effort needing to be made, and it feels frustrated because our energy is being blocked. Like Mars is our energy. So we have this energy behind us to unite, to be with people, to have sex, to work on our money relationship, our relationship with ourselves. But it's like every time we try to take a step forward, there's like this roadblock that just doesn't allow us to keep on that path. So that can be a little bit frustrating at this time. But the good news is that Venus and Mars is making a square to Uranus. Again, squares are not the most positive, but just the fact that it's touching Uranus here is a good sign, especially because this moon is making a sextile to Uranus. What this means to me is that the solution to these things is creating some sense of freedom or change or disruption to your current cycle. And it's going to feel probably like a loss. It's probably going to feel negative. It's probably going to feel like something is either being taken from you or it's harder to process than it normally is because it's a square. So anytime there's a square to Uranus, it's like, it's not change that you're necessarily sitting down and really wanting to make that change. Maybe deep inside, you know that's the change that's best for you, but it's like on the outside, you also feel like you want to be with someone and maybe you don't want to have a breakup, or you want to spend that money and you don't want to sit there and budget all day. Like there's some aspect there that kind of feels like you're dragging your feet with this a little bit. But that square, if you do put that effort in to make those changes, to disrupt the status quo of where things have been going, that train that's headed down the track, if you disrupt that, it's going to truly manifest in a positive way for you and have a ripple effect onto the rest of your year. Venus and Mars is also making a trine to Chiron, so I do feel like it's through this change, through these decisions, and through facing these relationships with people or facing your relationship with yourself or with money, it's through that experience that you're going to have that deeper healing, that you're going to let go of some of those past patterns that you've been repeating since childhood. So that's really what came up with Venus opposed Pluto, was childhood patterns started to come up in relationships. We started to default to wanting to close down, to not open up. And now it's saying this is our chance to heal that by kind of creating a rift, by exploding what once was, by taking a detour, by creating this massive change. We can start to rewire and rewrite history so that it doesn't just repeat itself on this in this cyclical way. So it's true healing is allowed to happen when we're doing this. And lastly, we have Saturn making a square to Uranus. This has been ongoing throughout the entire year. It's going to keep on going. So I don't really want to talk too much about it, but it's basically saying that we're just making massive, massive changes in our lives, and they might feel like they're coming a little bit slower than we'd like and a little bit more frustrating than we would like because Saturn is involved. But just know that you're steadily making progress, and this year is really where we're starting to lay down those big changes in our lives and into our internal selves. And then next year, I think we're going to start to see more results from them. So I wanted to show some cards that I pulled. So First, I pulled this card, the ever unfolding rose, cracked open. It's happening for you, not to you. This is really important. I feel like a lot of times it can feel like these negative relationship situations or money situations or self-worth situations are happening to us. We feel like we are victim to some of these people. I mean, if it's a lot of it is imbalances in relationships, honestly. That was occurring in the weeks prior to this, that we can feel frustrated about, like, why am I always giving, or why am I not receiving? It doesn't have to just be relationships, but just any area of your life where you feel like, God, I'm giving so much and I'm just not getting back what I think I should be getting back. And I feel like what this is saying is this is a very prime situation to help illustrate what you deserve, and to stop falling into patterns or falling into relationships with people that don't give back what you put in. It's not happening to you, it's literally happening for you. You're encountering these challenging situations and people to help you realize your worth, so that from now on, you can really stand up for yourself, hold those boundaries, take your power back, and start to attract the things that only match your level of giving and your vibration. I also pulled a potential card, so I feel like this is kind of going on the back of that, saying that all of this is happening to build you up to your highest potential. If you didn't have these more challenging relationships and circumstances and everything was just easy going, it's like there's not enough friction to help you grow, which is Jupiter retrograde. Grow inside, grow within yourself to reach a deeper and higher potential. So this is kind of forming us into the people that we're meant to be. I also pulled these two cards together, which is the wisdom and focus card. And I really feel like this is us being called to really address where our energy is going with this focus card. You know, what are you focusing your time, thoughts, and energy on? Because the last moon that we had was a Capricorn full moon, which was asking us to grow something, which was asking us to put effort into something. And so I think that is continuing on here with this focus card. Don't give up. Keep up that endurance towards building whatever you're trying to go for, whether that's a business, a relationship, a move, whatever it is you're trying to bring into your life to create change. Keep your focus on the prize and not on what's being lost, but what's being gained by creating more freedom in your life, by releasing things that aren't in alignment with you. And the wisdom card, I feel like, is just telling you to view this perspective to view all this from a higher perspective. Really try to put on your thinking caps and have the perspective of your future self or a really wise elder. They're not going to get so caught up in the details of the emotional experience that's happening right now. They're not going to get stuck in the stories. They're going to think about where this is taking them, why this is necessary, why this happened. Really allowing yourself to reflect in a wise and self-compassionate way is going to be important. And I feel like this Five of Pentacles is really illustrating kind of what we're experiencing emotionally at this time. These people are left out in the cold. They feel like they're not getting their needs met. They aren't being satisfied in their relationships or in some area of their life. And they're just feeling a little bit emotionally frustrated. And I feel like that's how a lot of us are feeling right now with different areas of our life. We're feeling like this sense of disappointment or, like not being fully fulfilled. Like we can start to get some breadcrumbs and some things coming into our life, but the breadcrumbs aren't enough for these people. They feel like they're still frustrated with the situation that they're in. And I feel like that is where we kind of are, especially in relationships right now. And to me, the next card, the Hanged One, is really this Uranus energy about creating a massive shift. This can either be in our life or in our perspective. So there needs to be some kind of shift to who we are or to what we think or to what we do. We need to turn our life upside down and shake out all of the loose change from our pockets, because it's just dead weight that is not helping us. So for all of us, there's some elements of our life that's that loose change that's constantly like jingling in our pockets, reminding us that we need to do something about it, but we just don't want to take it out. We just don't want to get rid of it because it is money at the end of the day. But it's just weighing you down. It's unnecessary. So even if this relationship, this job, or this thing that you're enjoying feels good, or you want to hold on to it because you see some value in it, just know that it's chump change, and the universe is trying to shake that out of your pockets to give you, hundreds and hundreds of dollars and not just quarters. But you have to first make room in your life and in your pockets to receive that money to be able to do that. And that's why I feel like I pulled this Four of Pentacles card. This is us not wanting to release that change. Literally the change, I meant like with the money in your pockets, but literally like releasing something. Like all of us are trying to hold on to something that we no longer need to hold on to. If it's a relationship with someone, a hookup, a connection, something in regards to finances. I mean, that's the very obvious one with Four of Pentacles. Is desiring to hold on to those finances so that you feel the sense of security when there is no sense of security. You create your sense of security. So holding on to this thing is only deterring the blessings that want to come in for you. And this new moon in Cancer is about releasing things, allowing yourself to create space and liberation in your life to bring in new things, and allowing yourself to feel and grieve what's happening. Because whenever you release something, there's some aspect of grief that also accompanies that. So if you're trying to hold on to it so you don't feel the grief, you're really just delaying your blessings, delaying the healing process, and you're not helping yourself. So let go of whatever that thing is. Allow yourself to move on, and then move into the phase 2 of your life, which is about planning ahead. And this is what I feel like Mercury making that trine to Jupiter is saying, is it's a great time to plan ahead. It's a great time to look into the future. It's okay if you don't have full clarity with that square to Neptune. You don't need full clarity to get started. You don't need full clarity to start journaling, to get an idea of what you want. So if you did lose a relationship, if you did let that go, now get really clear on what you want to come in its place. Who does that person need to be to satisfy you? How do you need to be in the relationship to be fulfilled? Get super clear in that planning process to understand what it takes. And then the very last card we have is the Strength card, which I feel like is really just telling us that the sun will shine again, but in the meantime, it's going to take our inner resilience and our strength to endure this next couple of weeks, to move through these challenging situations, to try to endure this Five of Pentacles feeling. But just know that when we come out on the other side, things are going to be much better. So I think the Strength card is really about that, like seeing the light at the end of tunnel, knowing that things are going to improve, and just giving yourself the opportunity to believe that things will improve. So that is what I'm seeing for this new moon in Cancer. And now I'm going to go into all of the zodiac signs. If you are enjoying this so far, please like and subscribe. And if you comment down below, I just want to say thank you so much, because those comments, they mean the world to me, you guys. I read every single one and they touch my heart so deeply. And I just wanted to say thank you in advance if you are commenting. All right, up next we have Leo rising. So for Leo risings, this new moon in Cancer at 18 degrees is happening in your 12th house. And it's making a sextile to Uranus in your 10th house, and a trine to Neptune in your 8th house. So I feel like you guys are being asked to let go of some stuff. Okay, so yeah, I think you guys are probably having some letting go. We'll see in a second. But yeah, having a new moon, having a new beginning in the 12th house is like having a beginning at the end, a beginning of an ending. Does that make sense? Like, it's like the beginning of the last chapter. It's like you're wrapping something up. It's the last cycle, the last house of the zodiac. It's the last part of the cycle. It's the part where we are dissolving, our body is dissolving, and we are becoming one with the universe before we reemerge or are born where the ascendant is, or where our first house is. So, yeah, I feel like I just pulled the Eight of Cups. I feel like you guys are going on a journey through your psyche with this moon card here. A journey through your psyche, especially with this trine to Neptune in the 8th house. There's some needing to let go of old, I feel like it's old fears, honestly. I feel like it's old fears and insecurities. And in order to do that, there has to be like some kind of death, some kind of process of death, some kind of process of release. And that release is going to help you create a change in your career. Something needs to give in your career. Something needs to give. Whatever you've been doing up to this point is great, possibly, but I feel like there has to be something new coming in for you guys. yeah, just something old wasn't working. Because whenever we have a new moon in the 12th, there's often a looking at our past, a looking at what has led us to this point, so that we can start to trim away the dead leaves and see, okay, well, that didn't really get me where I wanted to go. And this is actually where I want to go. So what can I do now to create that change? And I think that change is ultimately going to alter your life direction in terms of career, in terms of legacy, in terms of being a leader for yourself or for others. Like, there's some aspect there of you guys stepping up more in your career through change, through releasing, through demanding something else, demanding something different. Okay, a lot of people are getting this awakening card. So I do feel like it's a deeper awakening for many of us, stepping into a new cycle. I don't think you're on that new cycle. You are on the endings of a cycle, the tail end. You're about to be birthed into a new one. And so after this one, you're going to be starting to experience new energy. But right now, I feel like you're wrapping up the old and making changes to your career in order to create that wrapping up sensation. And then those changes to your career are going to help blast you off into the new, right? So it's kind of like that. The changes to your career, I think, are ultimately a big part of the outward manifestation of what's going to be that line in the sand where you look back and you're like, okay, that's the moment where I started a new cycle, in many years when you look back on this. And so the internal changes are really going to be about what you're releasing, though. So, like, ultimately, you're releasing things, but it's going to affect your career. And yeah, I pulled the Sun card, which in astrology is all about purpose in life path and career. So I feel like your life path is being slightly altered at this time. Okay, let's talk a little bit about what I'm seeing in the astrology, and then I'll kind of get into these cards. So you guys have Mercury and Gemini in the 11th house, making a trine to Jupiter retrograde in your 8th house, in a square to Neptune in the 8th house. So I feel like there's a lot of healing in this releasing process, like this death that's happening internally with you. There's a lot of healing your mental faculties. Like, maybe you've been thinking about something way too much. Maybe you've been having more anxiety, or maybe you've been talking to yourself in a way that's not helping you. And it's not helping you progress your career. And you're ready to finally let some of that story go. You're finally ready to ask for what you deserve in your career, to get recognition that you deserve, and to make waves or to disrupt the things that aren't serving you. And this could mean communicating in a different way about what some of that death needs to be. So if it's within your career, within you, it's you expressing this and communicating this to the world, especially to your friends, so that it's being recognized or received by other people and not just all internal. For a lot of people, I've been telling them to keep things kind of to themselves, not emotionally, but just like for asking for advice and stuff. And for you guys, I mean, that could be true, but I'm seeing this heavy emphasis here for you guys to really communicate with your friends about what's going on, about maybe what you're trying to release, because oftentimes having that verbal commitment with someone and just telling people makes it more official. It makes us stick to what we are planning more. And so it will help you kind of let go of some of these fears or insecurities, because your friends can help you work through them. They can be there to help support you. But sometimes with the square to Neptune in the 8th, you might not always have full clarity around what some of these shadows of yourself are, what some of these fears really are coming from. And so it can make it a little bit harder to release it. And so that's why I think talking to your friends is going to help shed a lot of light and clarity on what that is. You guys also have Venus and Mars in your sign in the 1st house. So you guys are having a lot of energy right now in general. I feel like a lot of opportunities are desiring to come in and magnetize or be magnetized towards you, but they're being blocked by Saturn in the 7th. So you might have responsibilities for other people. You might have issues in your relationships, especially intimate partnerships. There's some aspect of like heaviness, responsibility, maturity, obligations, effort that needs to be put into other people that's not allowing you to fully shine your light, for you to receive your blessings, for you to go out and take what you want out of life and take the bull by the horns. So just kind of keep that in mind, that Your relationships might need to be more balanced with your energy directed towards yourself. You guys also have Venus and Mars making a square to Uranus in the 10th. So that's what I'm saying, guys. Like, you guys are really, you are being like super powered and super energized to create change in your career, to ask for what you want. You guys, having Venus and Mars in your first house means it's about you. Mars is about taking what you want, Venus is about attracting what you want, and they are working together. They are the full package of desire. They are the yin and the yang, the man and the woman, and they are here to birth something new, but they are doing it for you, for your confidence. And I feel like that's why I pulled the Queen of Wands first, because this is the Leo energy, you guys. Like, confidence, the Queen of Wands, knowing your worth, asking for what you want in your career, asking your superiors for that raise, asking your superiors to get recognized, or putting yourself out there to be seen by the world. There is some aspect here of where you need to stand in your confidence and ask for those things and create those changes and not take things that are underneath you or not worthy of your energy and time. You are the sun. You are the sun this month in this new moon. Like, you are a Leo. The world revolves around you in a way. I mean, that not necessarily, but you know what I mean? Like, right now, the energy of the astrology is saying the world needs to revolve more around you. And you might feel like those changes in your career can't happen, but they can if you have that confidence. And if you also don't overly distract yourself with obligation to other people. Also, the confidence is really the biggest thing here. Like, I don't know how confident you guys are or aren't. Usually Leos are confident. Sometimes the shadow of Leos can like make them seem confident, but actually they're not. But with this moon and the 8 of Cups here, I feel like you're going on that inward journey to discover why you have been accepting certain things in your career, or why you haven't manifested certain things in your career, because of what's going on inside of you. Like, you are confident on the outside, but like, what is actually blocking you? Why aren't you able to fully feel alive in what you're doing? Like, there's something there that needs to be disrupted and that can't go on any longer. And I feel like these two cards, the moon and the 8 of Cups, are saying that is because that disruption is needed because of what has been going on inside of you. Maybe you've been suppressing some emotions. Maybe you haven't been dealing with some shadows of yourself. Maybe you haven't been allowing yourself to feel. And this is a Cancer new moon. This is about allowing yourself to feel everything. And then from that, journeying inside of yourself, moving through those emotions, pushing aside those fears, and going straight for the jugular of what you want. You have Venus and Mars in your first house. Like, you guys have full steam ahead. And then right after I say that, I look down and I see the Knight of Wands and the 3 of Wands. So this is people who are ready to go out and take what they want. This is fast action. This is not delays and hardships and everything like that. This is things starting to come and manifest in your life. And I do feel like it's career. And I feel like you guys are, again, full steam ahead, quick action, planning, being strategic, asking for those things that you want and making it happen. Just don't let your relationships get in the way. Not to let other people totally go, and not to not put energy into that, but that could be a potential blockage at this time from you fully asking for what you want. Is like, if you're too distracted because of other people and responsibilities to them or bad things that happen in your relationship, and that's like maybe part of the reason why you have these fears and doubts and these shadows that you haven't processed because of other people. That actually makes a lot of sense. With Saturn moving to the 2nd, 7th, you can have a lot more hardships and lessons around relationships, and maybe that's what you need to emotionally process. Whatever it is, you need to deal with it so that you can get that confidence fully. I already think you're confident, but like fully step into greater confidence so you can ask for what you want without questioning it. This card says, where are you being called to journey to? And I feel like you're being called to journey within yourself. This is a time of self-discovery, and that's what the 8 of Cups to me means. It's like you're going into the shadows, you're not afraid, and then once you're there, you are being asked to mother yourself. So doing this in a very kind Cancer way, like Cancer is the mother, right? It's the side of ourselves where we can nurture our inner child. So it's very important for you to have compassion as you're releasing some of these things, as you're facing some of these fears. as you are addressing and processing some difficult emotions from relationships, and as you're finally stepping more into greater confidence and asking for the changes that you need and that you want in your career. That's what I'm seeing for you guys, Leo rising. If it resonates, please like and please comment down below, because your comments mean everything to me. They really, really do. And if you want, you can subscribe. And if you're interested in learning more about astrology, I have an entire course worth hundreds of dollars for just 20 bucks. 20 bucks a month. It's a membership. You can cancel at any time, and you can access that in the link down below, North Node Society. And I can't wait to see you there. We have live calls every month as well. So it's just super exciting to like get to know you guys and see you more intimately. And I hope you have a really beautiful day. Bye.